Hi everyone, welcome to the ELA Grade 10 Week 1 Lesson 1 video. My name is Stephen Benson, I work with the Office of Literacy, and I will be your host today. Before we jump into today's lesson, I wanted to tell everyone what they can expect from these videos. Each video will be a little different depending on the lesson, but there will be a general structure that each video will follow. First, you will always see a list of the resources and materials needed for the lesson. Next, you will always see a brief overview of the learning for the lesson. Next, you'll see a quick model for some of the reading, thinking, speaking, and writing required for the lesson. And finally, you'll see a preview of the learning for upcoming lessons. Now, just because you are engaging in virtual learning does not mean we can't have a good laugh together. So I always want to include a joke of the day in all of these videos. So here's the joke for today. Knock, knock. Who's there? Daisy. Daisy who? They see me rolling, they hatin'. Okay, back to something serious. I wanted to orient you to the Grade 10 ELA packet before we look at Lesson 1. You'll see here, it says Grade 10 ELA Reading with a picture of the DPSCD logo right above it. You also see that it says week of 4/14/20 to 4/17/20. That tells you that the next couple of pages are all going to be in reference to the lessons for these weeks. Every time you see this picture with a week listed, that is going to send the message to you all that this is the new week of lessons starting in your packet, so it can help you keep track, almost like a cover page. Then you're also going to see the directions for what to do for the entire unit. It gives you an overview of the unit. It then tells you the guiding questions for the entire unit to help you keep track of like what you're working towards. And then also it tells you the materials that you need for the entire packet. Okay, if we look at Lesson 1, we're going to see the resources and materials needed for the lesson. You can find the resources and materials for Lesson 1, actually for all of the lessons, in two different spots. The first spot is what you're looking at now, which it tells you each day a quick overview of what you're going to be watching for the day. So this is the video you're going to be looking for, which is also linked with a QR code. It's then going to tell you the text that you're reading, so you want to make sure you're finding this specific text. And it's also going to tell you the activities you have to complete, which there are corresponding materials to each of the activities. Then if you go down a little bit further to the actual lesson, you're going to see the materials listed again right here, and that's just exactly the same thing that was listed above. Now, if you're watching this video now, you obviously have the capabilities of watching YouTube video, either on your cell phone or on a computer. But I just wanted to reiterate that these videos are not mandatory, and you can actually make sense of what you have to complete for the lesson just by reading everything in the packet. But these videos are a nice overview for people that have access to the appropriate technology. I quickly wanted to talk about the overview of learning for Lesson 1. You'll see in front of you the lesson target is listed, which is basically like the learning goal for the day. It says here, I can make connections to the unit's text and goals. It can start to build background knowledge on the key ideas and vocabulary presented in the launch text. I came, I saw, I shopped. So if you keep going down in the packet, you're going to see the activities that you need to complete for Lesson 1. I quickly wanted to mention that the Read, Think, Talk, Write protocol is the protocol we're going to follow for every single lesson. So you'll see here, for example, for Lesson 1, it tells you what you have to read, which, as we talked about before, is the launch text. So that can be independently or with a friend. The thinking part involves a jumpstart question to answer to get you interested in the topic, an optional video to watch, and also it gives you directions of what you're supposed to do as you read, which tells you here to think about how the writer presents information in the form of examples, statistics, and expert opinions. I do want to mention that it talks about the note catcher up here, and if you continue down a little bit more in the packet, you'll see that there's a note catcher included, and this is where you actually are supposed to jot down your responses to the questions that are posed. So the jumpstart, which we just talked about, has a spot on the note catcher for you to respond to. Now, if you keep reading, you're going to see information about the talk component. So here you actually have to talk with a family member, caregiver, or a friend about what you just read, and there's a discussion question listed there for you. Then there's a writing piece where you have to write and collect your thoughts from what you just read. And just like the jumpstart that I mentioned before, these writing assignments, so the summary and the quick write, are also on the note catcher that's provided in the packet. If you continue down in your packet, you're going to see that the last component of this Read, Think, Talk, Write protocol is the closing. And here you'll see that for lesson 1, the closing is to share your writing with someone. And also we encourage every student that after they complete their assignment to read at least for 20 minutes, a book of your choosing every day. I recommend that you always have this packet in front of you when you're engaging in the reading of any text. But in case you forget what you're looking for with the reading, just remember that it's also included at the top of the text under the as you read. Now I'm going to go over an example of what you should be doing today when you read the text by yourself. We're going to go over just paragraph 1 of the launch text. I came, I saw, I shopped. And I recommend you have the packet next to you that tells you what you're thinking about as you're reading, so you don't forget. And then also remember that you have a notes section on the left-hand side for you to actually, make notes while you're annotating. And there's also space in the right-hand side as well, too. So I'm going to read this first paragraph with you. I'm going to model for you how I would annotate for what's listed here, and then you'll be able to do this by yourself. Let's get started. Perhaps you know what became of the robotic dog, ripped jeans, or gadget you couldn't live without a few years ago. When I'm reading that, I'm thinking to myself, oh, these are examples that the author is already including in the first paragraph. Remember, we're looking for examples, statistics, and expert opinions. So I underlined robotic dog, ripped jeans, or gadgets. Then I keep reading. It says, maybe you remember where you put that video game you used to love. So video game is another example that the author is using here. I then would maybe write in the margins, these are examples, to remind myself these are examples of older items, because these are all things that, according to our author, and that probably you can relate to, are of the past. No one has a robotic dog really anymore, or ripped jeans for the most part. So let's keep reading. It was a must-have item just last year. It's possible, though, that you've lost track of these things. Consequently, they are forgotten but not gone, collecting dust in a closet somewhere. In the meantime, you may have developed a taste for newer, fresher goods, such as waterproof smartphone, designer shoes, or limited edition sneakers. I'm going to underline all of that because, once again, these are other examples that the author is including here, but these are examples of newer items, and I'm going to list that in the margin there. I'm going to write that down to remind myself that the author started with examples of older items and then shifted to examples of newer items, things that we probably currently have. I then sort of want to summarize everything that I just wrote, but I want to make sure it's in relation to what it's asking me to notice and think about. So I wrote here, the author is using the examples to hook the reader. To me, that is speaking to why the author includes both these older items and these newer items as examples in this first paragraph. So now it's your turn. You're going to repeat the exact same process and engage in a reading of the launch text. I've already done paragraph 1 with you. You can definitely reread that if you want to make sense of it on your own. But then you're going to read paragraphs 2 through 8 and complete the exact same process where you're thinking about the same things that I was thinking about and using the margins to your advantage. Then after that, remember, go through your packet and you're going to engage in the talk about, the write about, with the note catcher, making sure you actually answer the write about it question to the note catcher, and then you're going to finish with the closing. Now a quick preview of what you're going to be learning tomorrow. You'll see that tomorrow's lesson is lesson 2, and once again, this is all in your packet if you want to look through this and get a head start to see what tomorrow will bring. You'll also see here that the objective is listed. So the objective for tomorrow is, I understand the expectations as a student during this extended learning time and can make connections between different selections, performance tasks, and the essential question. So tomorrow you won't actually be reading a text, but you will be engaging in an overview to learn more about all the text you're going to read throughout the entire extended learning time, as well as get a glimpse into the activities you're going to complete. If you have any questions throughout any of this, we definitely recommend you reach out to a parent, caregiver, or a friend, but you also can email your teacher for support. You may already know their email address, but in case you don't, I wanted to tell you that every single teacher across the district has the same format for their email. It's their first name dot their last name at DetroitK12.org. If you don't remember their first name, you can go on PowerSchool and their first name should be listed there under your schedule. For example, if your teacher's name was Mary Shields, her email address would be mary.shields@DetroitK12.org. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and remember, keep learning.